Hi guys, this is Hiro. How's everyone doing today? So today I'm going to be discussing the Mars transit in the sign of Cancer in the D9 chart from September 16th around to September 23rd night or 24th morning, depending on where you live. Okay, it's been a while since I made a transit video on the D9 chart. I've actually only made it once, which was earlier this year in January, with Jupiter being debilitated also. But there's a couple of reasons why I wanted to make this video. One was because there's a few other components that are happening this time that making this extra crucial. And two is that there's a couple other general points that I've been meaning to discuss that didn't really justify a whole separate video for them, but that I'll tie in here. Okay, so the first things first that I want to ask you to be aware of is that Mars, when it's in Cancer, aspects three places. Now, Mars at any place aspects three places, but when it's in Cancer, it specifically aspects Libra, Capricorn, and Aquarius. Now, I would hope that you notice something immediately just by me listing these, but if you didn't, you would know that Libra is Saturn's exaltation sign, Capricorn is one of Saturn's signs, and Aquarius is Saturn's main sign. So if it wasn't already obvious, what's happening here is that when when Mars is debilitated and it's aspecting these three places, it is severely hampering your Saturn's ability to function. Okay, when your Mars is debilitated and it aspects Saturn's exaltation sign, Saturn's own sign, and Saturn's primary own sign, it's affecting negatively your Saturn. Okay, now why is this? Is because imagine Mars. Mars is a very aggressive and intuitive planet. Okay, Cancer is a very nurturing sign. So imagine someone very aggressive. Let's just focus on the aggressive. Imagine someone very aggressive trying to be nurturing. Okay, this is kind of like, I would say, like an aggressive stepfather trying to play the role of a nurturing newborn mother. Okay, this is not a great fit for the stepfather. Just like likewise, it is not the most optimal fit, as you can see, for Mars to be in Cancer, which is exactly why it gets debilitated in Cancer. Okay, now we know that all of every planet's aspects and things like this are not by coincidence. So if you're a stepfather and you have to play the role of a nurturing mother, how can this affect your Saturn? Well, the reason is because obviously if you have to be a nurturing mother or take care of some newborn girl, then you're not going to be able to do the things that you need to do, which doing the things you need to do is represented by Saturn. Okay, so I hope that quick point made sense. Now, we know this is happening in the D9 chart, this transit, from this week or slightly over a week, I think. Now, the D9 chart or any divisional chart kind of shows a focus in a certain area, but D9 shows specifically, I guess you can say from a very general sense, what's happening on the inside, okay? The D1 chart is the physical placements, what's happening on the outside. The D9 is more a little bit, I guess you can say, what's happening on the inside, especially from a spiritual perspective, okay? Because it's like the 9th house, which is, it governs all religion and things like that. So what you can determine here is that your Mars, which is your aggressive, from a very spiritual internal perspective, is going to feel a little bit frustrated. It's going to feel like it's not able to do what it needs to do, and it's going to feel a little bit out of control. Okay, just in general, just a side note, Mars, when it's in Cancer in the D1, it can kind of show a little bit like anger problems and things like this because it's too moody, it's too all over the place. Okay, but let's just focus on the D9 for right now. So you could just feel internally from a spiritual perspective, this situation is going on. Now, also we have the component of, in the Lugna chart, the Mercury is retrograde. And it's in its own sign, Virgo. It's exalted and own sign, so it's very, very strong retrograde, okay? So already the rational intelligence is lost. Also, we know in the Lugna chart, Mars's Lord, Venus, is also entering debility, okay, in Virgo. And it's getting closer and closer to the retrograde Mercury, okay? So we can see here that there's a few obstacles, okay? The rational intelligence is gone, which is Mercury being retrograde. Your enjoyment is not quite there. You're not able to enjoy as much, which is Mars' Lord Venus being entering debility. And we also know Mars being in Cancer itself, which I just described in the D9 chart, especially from an internal level, can throw its fair share of problems. Okay. Well, now it's like, okay, well, what do we do, right? It's for a week. Are we just gonna, just kind of suck it up and get through it? Well, yeah, but how do we do that? So it's peak Mercury retrograde. This planet Mars is debilitated in the D9, and this is the last time it's debilitated in the D9 before retrograde. Which I'm not going to touch too much into this point, but I just want to make it clear that the last time a planet is retrograde in the D9 before retrograde, it's usually a little bit more significant for Mars and Venus. I mean, or the first retrograde after, because these planets don't go retrograde that much. Okay, but I'll touch on this another time. So it's the last time it goes. It's debilitated in the D9, and it happens to be the last time before debilitated in the D9 before retrograde. And you're not able to enjoy, which is what Venus represents. Now, so what do we do? Well, I just said when Mars is in Cancer, it aspects those three signs, so it hampers your Saturn. So the best way to deal with all this is to connect with the energies of your Saturn yourself, even if it's not that supported in your chart, and just get through the week connecting to your Saturn energies and kind of just doing the things you need to do and calling it a day. And I'm going to explain why. Yeah, sure. Mars, when it's in debilitated, it affects those three signs, right? But also you got to look when Saturn is in Aquarius, its main sign, which is kind of where it wants to be, it aspects both of Mars' signs, okay? So when you connect to your Saturn energies, or when Saturn's in a good spot, but obviously, here, there's only a certain amount of things we can control, so we need to control what we can. So if we connect to our Saturn energies a little bit more and more, it will strengthen and help regain the functioning of our Mars, okay? This is why in some of my advanced information sign videos, I kind of say how, if you clean up the energies in one sign, it'll kind of help the flow of all the energy go around the zodiac belt from sign to sign. Same thing here with planets. All the planets kind of connect to each other in some way, shape, or form. So if you clean up or connect more healthily to the energies of a planet of some other one, like for example Saturn here, it will help support your Mars. Also in this situation, we know the four upachiyas are 3, 6, 10, and 11. And we could say that 3 and 6 are represented by Mercury, and 10 and 11 are represented by Saturn. So obviously the 3 and 6 are a little bit hampered because Mercury is retrograde in its own main and exaltation sign. So what do we have to do? We got to connect with the other two just a lot more. Don't try to go above and beyond and try to fix something that we can't control. Let's fix the things that we can control, or improve the things that we can control. So your Saturn's kind of going to help take care of your Mars being debilitated here, okay? Because instead of getting all moody and things like this or whatever, if you just connect to the things that you need, or do the things that you need to do, you'll be able to get through this a little bit easier. Now, that's not saying that you won't feel the Mars in Cancer at all, but I'm just telling you how to get through this a little bit healthily and kind of share some points that might shed some light on things. Same thing with the Mercury. Yeah, sure. Your rational intelligence is a little bit gone, the 3 and 6 energies. But when it comes to the Upacha energies as a whole, focus more on 10 and 11 versus 3 and 6. Okay, and just a minor note. Yeah, sure. The Venus is debilitated and it's Mars is Lord. But just remember that Venus is the only planet that owns an air or a earth sign that is not an Upacha. Okay, so what does this mean? It's more a planet, and I explained a little bit more of this in my Upacha video, but it's more a planet representing your wants, not necessarily your needs. So just, if you're getting frustrated on the things Venus related, just accept things how they are. And that's honestly the best way to get through it. But focusing on the video title, and I have a video on Venus debilitated in Virgo separately if you want to just watch that. But same with the Mercury retrograde as well. But also, just as far as this Mars being debilitated in the D9, just remember, if you internally, spiritually are feeling like you're just a little bit too moody, you just can't get things done, or you just can't intuitively decide what you need to do or the things that you need to start, right? Because it owns Scorpio and Aries. Just say, hey, you know what? It's not in a good spot right now in the D9, which is okay. Let me just connect to Saturn. Let me not try to start, let me not internally feel like I need to start anything new or that I need to develop some intuition to anything crazy or just anything in general. Let me just understand that, hey, I'm already aware of things that I need to do. Let me just continue doing those things. And as far as starting new things or developing new intuition pathways and things like this, I can just save this for after when Mars gets out of Cancer in the D9. Okay, and maybe possibly it would be a good idea to even wait until the retrograde of Mercury ends as well. Okay, so that's just my little quick perspective on these dates and this situation and this transit of Mars going into debility in the D9 chart for this about roughly 7 to 8 days. Okay, so if you have any questions, you can feel free to let me know. And until next time, I will talk to everyone later. Thank you so much for watching.